Black Spring with Autumn here on your Friday afternoon. And can I say we made it? I can say I made it. Maybe you made it. I don't know. Maybe you were off today. I don't know. But I'm just saying, thanks so much for coming back, and thanks for those of you who were able to come in earlier today. Always thanks to you guys. You're always much appreciated. So I don't know. I was just thinking I'd just drop in just for a second to kind of tell you about some of the things that I would like to get into. Get into a little bit more of the deets on aviation and what's happening at the airports, staffing levels, delay times. Yeah, I mean, if you're planning on traveling, if you travel for work, and it's also it's that time of the year, so um, you know, it's it's the timing is. I mean, if you're doing a lot of traveling for family traditions or that kind of a bit, I would imagine that it couldn't have come at the worst time, or if you're going to celebrate, or even, there's not going to be a good time. Part of a lot of this is going to be inconvenience, okay? What is it? Klaus Schwab bared it out in his own Fourth Industrial Revolution that, it was the government's job to convince you that, yeah, a little bit of inconvenience, yeah, but, it's for your own good, they know best. So, but now that he's not there, that they've got Brende Berger, who is now born. I think it's a Swiss name. On my Swiss is vous n'êtes pas Suisse. No, I am not Swiss at all. I don't even know. I'm not even sure that I know anybody that speaks that. I'm not even sure. But yeah, so it's going to be inconvenient, okay? Everything that's coming your way, it's coming our way, will be inconvenient. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not meant to be a walk in the park. It could be, somebody brought up an interesting point. I'm just thinking, just like COVID-19, maybe this is another way of them getting, shutting the people down, getting, communication out of there. You can't, if you're not getting together and, if you're not, dare I say, fellowshipping with family or fellowshipping with friends, this is probably another way, to kind of keep that from going on, as if they, you're not going to be able to travel so much. Skyways, you got highways, skyways, but if you can't go those long distances, then you will not be doing that. There'll be a larger disconnect. Okay. Because I will say, this is one thing about the airline industry. I mean, to me, that is another part of, globalization, in which, that type of travel has brought people closer together. It's made the world smaller. Okay. If we always, I think the people that, whoever came up with the saying that it's a small world, I think they must have been talking about globalization, because even with the internet and the Facebooks and all of these things have made the world smaller. I mean, you can get to, of course, with transportation, air travel, you can get to places in shorter periods of time. And when it comes to social media, Facebook, you can actually join people. You can be close to people from thousands of miles away with just a click of a button. So to me, it was a technological type of globalization in itself. DJ D Ray. Hi, DJ D Ray. How are you? If you're new to the channel, welcome in. Thanks for coming by. So, yeah, so I do have some reports, some Q&A type information, in which you'll be able to see, if you're flying out, for work, what kind of delays you're up against. And I just don't see that this is going to, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. We've talked about that before. Because why would they want it to, why would it be projected to end anytime soon? Why would the chaos, why would the disruption, why would the inconvenience end anytime soon? Especially when you've had the Pentagon release something, say, hey, we're gonna make sure that we're training, quick response forces to be ready by January 1st of 2026. So even if it's not, it's the perfect gumbo, okay? It's not going to be just one thing. It never is. It never is. It's all, to me, it seems like everything always ends up evolving into something else. So I anticipate, and honestly, but the longer this goes on, I think the likelihood of, dare I say, escalation will occur. And that's what I'm speaking of here on this channel, this platform, is escalation is likely the longer it goes on. What type of escalation? I'm not going to say. I don't really want to put that out there, because there's enough of that. Okay. There's enough of that. So if you are, if you're concerned about that, these travel times and how everybody's faring in this whole situation is, that's what I can help you with that in a report. So I'll probably go over some of the amount of cancellations, of course, that are going on, as well as what the airports, by airport, by airline, whatever you're looking into, because of the shortage, the amount of call outs. Of course, they're injecting the fear. The media is doing its job by injecting the fear. Of course, people are questioning the safety of air travel, with whether it be air traffic controller reductions, in staffing, and whether it's TSA staffing. They're questioning the safety and security of everything. So you got to keep that going. And so, but I'm wondering, but the layoffs are the feds reporting these layoffs? No, it's people like me and you, fellow content creators out here. We're doing more. We're in the trenches more than, the John Q journalist. I'm not even sure if we have those anymore. You guys remember back during COVID-19, we talked about how we were now the news. And, but I'm not going to sit here and say that there's not any misinformation out there, and that people aren't doing coverage for clicks and likes. And I'm not saying that there's not any disinformation out there, but I think a lot of YouTubers or social media, dare I say, personalities, have broken a lot of stories or uncovered a lot of things. And, they're not getting those mega salaries, or they're not getting those big pay. They're not getting those big, bonuses for doing that. They're just, out there doing what speaks to them, or what they think is necessary in times like this. So it may come back down to that. It very well may come back down to that. So we'll just have to see. And I appreciate you guys for loving on the like button. I know it's a Friday, but I am still going to, my plan is to actually bring you guys a fuller program, and get into what I'm calling the kind of like the weekend wrap up, or the week's wrap up. And I guess, what are we on, day 30? Is it day 38 of the shutdown? Day 38 of the shutdown. And like I said, there's no end in sight, but they've got to keep you holding on, right? They got to take you to the edge every single day. They set you up from the beginning talking about this whole thing about, oh, well, we don't know how long this is going to last, and, they've already got the whole SNAP issue going on. I did a bit of ranting earlier this morning about SNAP, and how, some conservative types, will write people off. And then here's the other thing, and I'm not going to turn this into a rant. I will not. But I will say, the other thing is this whole concept, this whole thing about just throwing out there, well, just get a job. Well, do they realize The only people that say things like that, that just roll that off of their tongue like that, are people that are so disconnected and so detached from what's really going on out here. They're really not that informed. They just want to stick to their I want to start calling them seven mountain maggots. That's what they just want to keep. They just want to keep circulating that whole thing, because you have people out here that are overqualified, that are underpaid right now. But you still have these zealots out here running their mouths, telling people, "Oh, get a job, get a job, get a job, get a job." Well, it's really not for people, whether you're qualified or you've been laid off. Is it really that simple? Is it really that simple? You've got people with multiple degrees, by their own volition, and they don't have jobs. Gary Gage 104, how are you? Thanks so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So, but you've got these, they've got their history. They made their history this week. They got their longest shutdown in history when it hit the 36th day. And of course, you've got some of these big, there I call them the big wheels or the big wigs. You had the passing of Cheney, and then you have a retirement of Nancy Pelosi. So, they've had their week of of groundbreaking things. Gargoyle, I always call you Gargoyle. You have to forgive me. It's the 4 o'clock. It's the 4:30 scaries right about now. It's the 4:30 scaries on a Friday, Gary Gage. He says, we went through all this in the 1990s with the Clinton administration. Well, it's also thanks to them. That whole era also is the reason why most of our industries got, traded off. You have the World Trade Organizations. Yeah, they all did a number. I'm sorry, but see, I'm saying it, but in all honesty, in all seriousness, Gary Gage, that's like, I think my vision is, it kind of looks like the photo that they've got on the, it's like a bunch of leaves or something. The letters are, it's the 434, it's the 430 scaries. Let's call it that. But yeah, so I'm just saying that they've had their week of history. They also had the week prior to that. It's like, to me, they're on a whole string. They're on a whole strand. They're hitting all the strands of history, because on October 31st, that was your eve of the SNAP depletion or expiration. Okay. But then also, meanwhile, who knew they had that Trump had this Great Gatsby themed party. And I'm telling you, the symbolism is, the script is, is certainly not original. Okay. It's not the external conflict, not the internal conflict. All they do is, I'm going to tell you what's happening here. This is my humble opinion. They just keep raising the stakes for the common man every week. And that's what happened in 2020 and 2019. That's all they were doing. They just keep on raising the stakes. But who are they raising the stakes for? They're raising the stakes for the common man. You're not getting into their pockets with your layoffs, with your call-offs, with your get your butt back out there to work with no pay. You're not gonna deplete their Jenny's ice cream and a whatever $20,000, $25,000 refrigerator allegedly that Pelosi had back then, or she probably had the whole freaking salon shut down just so she can go in and get her hair done back then. You guys remember that? I say this all the time, that the American memory is very fickle, and I stand by that. I really do. But I appreciate you guys so much. For everybody that's if you're a voyeur hanging out in the background, hey, you could be anywhere you want in the world at 4:36 or 5:36 on the EST or the CST, but you chose to be here. So I appreciate it. But, I appreciate everybody else also for loving on that like button. I don't know. Who knows? But I think the stakes are going to get raised again. Okay. I will say that I submit that there's not going to be, before there's a resolution, they're going to raise the stakes again for the common man. Yes, they are. They are going to raise the stakes again. And what will it be this time? What will it be this time? Because I've already cited that the jobs, the layoffs between, I think I started out with, what was it, Starbucks? Starbucks was closing stores, saying they were going to had a new plan. They're coming back even better and better and better and better. And then after that, it was Target. Okay, so there's a corporate there, but not setting store closures. But there again, they had the same kind of performance in which they were, was it 3 quarters, the 3 straight quarters of failing, or whatever. Yeah, that. So you had Target, you've had UPS, and you've got Amazon. Okay, so I did hear some commentary from someone else that talked about. I've talked about the chips availability, because I think the people that are really in the tech industry, they're aware that they might say it's about AI, but they're saying really we're not there yet. You might not have recruiters. They may not be hiring, but I still think that we don't have everything that they don't have everything that they need to go full throttle AI just yet. Oh, it's happening. And the minute they get it, I mean, because to me, it makes perfect sense. Because why is the U.S. investing so much in semiconductors and partnering up with, why are we invested at 10% in NVIDIA? And, that's Huawei's competitor. Also, they were worried about Huawei during the 5G infrastructure bill some years ago, back in 2019. They said, oh, we're worried about, espionage and trade secrets being, compromised because of, if we create an alliance with AI or no, the 5G. So right now, I mean, it's open. I mean, Huawei is pretty powerful in China. So I'm just saying, but I do think I'm speaking more of what I think is going to happen in the narrative. I think all they're going to do is they're going to keep raising the stakes. Are they going to raise the stakes until what? Until what? Are you going to introduce something else before you bring people to their knees? Are you going to raise the stakes to something that the people won't be able to resist? Or you're going to make us beg for mercy, and we'll say, okay, we'll do whatever we'll be doing whatever you want, overlords, we'll be doing that. So but I'm also wondering, I'm hearing about, like, in places like Ireland, I'm hearing they've already introduced a universal basic income, but Ireland is not that big. But I think it's just, it's all, many of these economies are struggling. It's not just the American economy. It's not just Japanese economy. Many of these economies are struggling. But, we're told all the time, everything's fine. What are you talking about? We were told for a long time, what was it under, what was it, Secretary of State, Janet Yellen, that everything's fine. She denied that there was any issue with groceries during the pendulum, the other dialectics reign, Biden. And then you also had Karine Jean-Pierre saying that, oh, everything's fine. What are you talking about? And now she's an independent. I mean, seriously? Who takes these people seriously? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I can't even believe the kind of participation that still exists out there. But it does, because like I said, it's a lucrative, it's a business, it's a religion to me, this whole left-right paradigm dialect situation. It's actually it's more of a religion than anything. It is. Because to me, the thing is like, are we really that deluded that we think that we can actually seek peace and actual truth in a dishonest and in a time of deception, that someone in the government or someone of power is going to offer you truth, or they're going to offer you peace? That's not the world that you live in. So how can you possibly I mean, I'm saying, why is the allegiance so great in a deceptive world, in a wicked world? How are you going to get peace and truth from anybody that's a leader? How? And I don't care if you say, well, we got our state, our city, our county seat is very honest, and or our state, blah, 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 blah. So let me just read some of your comments here. Gary Cage, he says, with the inclusion of AI and robotics, human labor will continue to decrease. Yes, it will. Because even for myself, even people that are looking to be relevant or to stay relevant, what does that relevance look like? Even if you want to go into consulting, you might need to go into consulting with that little sidekick called AI attached to it. You might want to do that because you can't go in there as a consultant alone. You've got to have that. You got to have that sweet spot. You got to be offering something with that. So if you're going to reinvent yourself, or if you're going to, you've got to have some, you've got to be able to, you got to be able to move and shake with AI. I mean, hi, Sean James 21. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you guys for loving on the like button. I really appreciate that. During the 4:30, the four after four scaries on the on the Friday. But he says I made it to the live. Yeah, so I'm doing a little bit of I'm doing a little bit of a commentary on what we've seen so far. Not necessarily just limited to today, not necessarily just limited to the last couple of streams that I did. Just, what it's looking like overall. Because, of course, later, I mean, this weekend, I'll probably get into some of the delays in the airport and all that kind of a business. And I did say this morning, I said, eventually, if things continue if the trajectory continues in the way that it is, then they will see, once again, they will see furloughs. They will see buyouts. Sorry about that, guys. I had to, call comes in and all of a sudden I'm frozen. So, but what I'm saying is that we'll get into some of that later. I just wanted to come in and just talk to you guys just for a second about, I think that's my, not necessarily forecast. I am forecasting more escalation, but to what extent, I don't know. But I'm saying that even, buyouts and furloughs and, I think even that's escalation at this point. At this point in time, that's it too. Okay. So I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. So unless I get something that's kind of earth shattering, I don't know. There's no more like, what is it that they used to do back when I was a kid? I think they used to have a 10 o'clock report, Santa Claus's ride. And, Santa Claus, they have a Santa tracker. The Santa tracker would come on the TV set, the tube, the literal the Santa tracker would come on and tell you, Santa's in the East Coast right now. He's around the blah, 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 blah. There's no more, there's no tracking the Senate, or there's no more tracking Congress. And, they said that they presented this, and and you see the clock is just steadily counting down. There will not be any of that. No, that will not be, you will not go through that on Black Spring with Autumn. No, you won't. No, you won't. No, not on COVID 2.0. Because like I said the other day, I think this is going to make COVID look like it's going to look like less than a dry run with what I think is in store for us. When they raise the stakes again, it's going to be, you're going to have to you're going to have to pick a side. So no, we won't be, I won't take you to the C-SPAN and stream that particular counter, if you will. That's, to me, it's like the counter, the meter's running kind of thing. To me, that's to me almost equivalent to a Santa tracker. By 12 o'clock midnight, are we all going to turn back into pumpkins? They did that. You guys remember Y2K? I remember where I was when that whole thing was going on. I remember what was happening. People were sitting around, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with the computers and everything? Oh, are they going to be able to turn over this or blah, 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 blah. And, they just, I'm telling you, these themes, they just kind of morph and they just evolve over time. So, but around here, we're going to run them through the X-ray machine so that you don't waste your time sitting around looking at the Congress tracker or the Santa tracker. Gary Gage, you remember that, huh? So let's see. Let me read your comment here. Gary Gage, if I call you Gargle, please know that it's not personal. Okay. So Gary Gage says, especially government positions will be decreased. Your generation will see an AI political system. Well, I think that's why the talk, you remember not too long ago, probably back in 21, 22, that they had, we're doing a study. We're going to study the AI Bill of Rights. Would you like to have your opinion included? I don't know if you guys remember. I did an entire stream on that. I mean, hey, I remember where I was when I was streaming about the Georgia Guidestones implosion. I remember where I was on that at that particular time. So, hey, man, time flies, right? So let me read this comment from Sean James 21. Sean James 21 says it's scary because it's only a matter of time before everyone quits after not receiving pay. The country will collapse. I'm tracking Sean James 21. I appreciate that. I agree. And that's why I'm saying, Gary Gage says, yes, Y2K. And then Joseph Francis Burton is here. He says, I was at a party on Y2K. Hey, well, I wasn't. I was actually with my family members at that time. So I don't even remember. Yeah. Hey, I remember exactly where I was at that time. He says, I will not be watching the shutdown tracker. Hey, if I break my word, come on here. Just come on around. We've done that in the past, right? What do you guys remember? Now we're going down memory lane a little bit. We're going down memory lane just a little bit. You guys remember we used to sit around and watch these debates? I used to do that. See, this is why when I say the class of 2019 it's sentimental to me, because we were all sitting around together during the lockdown. Shout out to Derek C. Williams, who said, you know what? We learned to accept a word that is usually, more familiar in, acceptable in prisons, or, you're going on lockdown, so the cell block B had a disturbance. Now we're on, the whole world accepted lockdown. And look what we've accepted right now. We've accepted for the second time, at least in less than 10 years, we've accepted the word shutdown. And it's immediate fear that comes with that. So yeah, but I appreciate you guys so much. I'm rambling. I'm rambling around the 4:30 scaries right about now, but I appreciate it. Gary Gage, wait. Wait a minute, Joseph Francis Burton. He says, I will not be watching the shutdown tracker. Haha. The BSWA channel is my only source of news information. Oh, I gotcha. You've been saying that for some time. I really appreciate you, Joseph Francis Burton. Gary Gates says, wasn't it a black Camaro that smashed? I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. It's just, yeah, it was something's going on for sure. Joseph Francis Burton says, I found your channel during the summer of 2020 lockdown. Seriously, your mocking of the mocktail propaganda videos were hilarious. It kept me saying, hey, I'm telling you, hey, speaking of that, that's working. This is not even a mocktail. So here's to you, Gary Gage. Hey, that word mocktail is working. It always works. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. I mean, in all seriousness, guys, we might need to go back. You might have to go back into prepper mode. You might need to pick up that can. I've told you guys the other day, I said, you guys might want to pick up a canned good every time you go to the store. Even if you're low on, If you don't have one of those $3,000 about now, I remember when those kits were about $300, about $350, you could get what, about how many months of food could you get per person for how many people could you feed for like $350 back in 2019, 2020 on one of those food kits? Now, whatever vendor you choose or you remember, you recall. But right about now, I think those kits are closer to a few grand. I imagine that Patriot Supply has that. I don't know. A lot of people have purchased that, but I mean, it has a 25-year shelf life. So, this is a lucrative business out here. Hey, I'm out here complaining about the 430 scaries, and and then I'm talking about that in the same vein as a $3,000 food kit. But we'll see what happens, guys. But I really appreciate you guys. It's Friday, but I definitely will come back and let you know if you guys are flying out or whatnot. I've got some information on that. I've got good old Schumer. He's putting an offer on the table. I mean, come on. Like, we're not doing this. We're not doing the Santa / we're not doing the Congress tracker today. We're not going to do it. Now, if you guys want, if I put a poll out there and say, hey guys, are you guys interested in tracking the, keeping people up all hours of the night with the, with the shutdown trackers and the Santa trackers and all this stuff, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessary. I don't know, but we'll see. I really appreciate you guys so much for coming in. Let me just say thanks so much for everybody. And then Joseph Francis Burton, shout out to the class of 2020. Shout out to the class of COVID-19. You guys are appreciated. It's unforgettable times. And unfortunately, I think in all seriousness, I think we might be on the verge of some other stakes being raised in the near future. So we'll see. We've already got, to me, they've given us a timeline for it. When they say, you got a quick response force already in training, then that's as they say, that's no joke. Okay. That came from the Pentagon. All right. So here we go. DJ D Ray. Thank you so much for coming in. Gary Gage 104. And I was this close to saying gargoyle. I was that close, but I made it. I didn't do it. Thank you, Gary Gage 104. Sean James 21. Thank you so much for coming in. And I don't know, maybe I'll come back. We'll see. But definitely by tomorrow, between tomorrow and Sunday, I want to do more of a stream, a full-on stream. I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure some things out. Joseph Francis Burton is here. Thank you so much, Joseph Francis Burton. But I appreciate it. And you're right, fear sells. So I do believe that they're going to pump some more things in there and keep the thing going. They got to keep it going. They got people worried about their holidays. And, we got people worried about these turkeys. I talked about how I think they've lowered the prices right about now. But I want to thank you guys so much again for loving on the like button and coming in. And like I said, maybe I'll see you guys again later. But bye for now.